one of the ways that I know you guys really use Eloqua well, one of the first things Melissa talked about in terms of the challenges in this space is just the way that we have to communicate with our customers and the way that we're managing expectations. You guys do an absolutely tremendous job. Can you talk about some of the ways that you leverage the platform to do just that?
Thank you. I'm thank you for saying we do it well. I've really loved working on that project as well. Yeah, as we all know, the construction industry is moving really large items around. And so unlike our personal Amazon deliveries, construction site deliveries need a whole team to unload them and just have other special considerations. So Melissa's earlier point of having that transparency and clarity with our customers is really important. And it has been for a while, but we just didn't have an automated thing in place to give them that. And unfortunately, during COVID, more pressure was put on us as well because of the increased lead times. So getting our products like manufactured was taking longer. So with a real need for clarity and also faced with these supply chain challenges, we look to try and automate alerting our customer when their project reached those crucial milestones. So we started that by looking at our ordering systems and seeing what the data flow was like just at that moment. The kind of goal was to just like look at this, create this new milestone system and make it as seamless as possible. So our goal is to kind of keep the day-to-day workflow of how our staff was working the orders exactly the same, and just use the ERP system to trigger those Eloqua emails and text messages. So as we were kind of going through the ERP system and identifying where we could actually set out a trigger, we identified 16 different milestones. That has now blown up. So I think we're at like 35 milestones in total that Cornerstone's actively trying to build out. And so with the most of these, sorry, rather the most complex of these are definitely around these deliveries, right? So we implemented a truck tracking GPS tool to give our customers real-time updates as far as being able to see where that truck is and when it's coming. But an even more complex part of this and where Eloqua really helped was implementing automatic delivery confirmations, meaning as the very first time when we have an idea of when we're going to load that order onto the truck, we want to ask the customer if that date also works for them. So, it's really like up to the minute of like whenever that load date is saved, that is when that alert is now triggered to go out to the customer. We ask them to confirm whether that this date is good. If they say yes, that's great. If not, they can also pick a time to reschedule. So that sounds like a lot of back and forth and like a lot of manual touch points, but we actually automated all of it using Eloqua forms, landing pages, emails. Our Microsoft CRM integration was also really key. And we also use text messages and SMS in this process too. And it's been really great. We've had great success and feedback from our customers. On the very last milestone, we added a little, because it wasn't complex enough. So we added a little transactional survey to also get an idea of how the whole alerts experience was. And out of thousands of deliveries, we're still averaging 5 stars for the Cornerstone Building Brands alerts experience, which has just been phenomenal.
It's incredible. And there's, I mean, there's so many moving parts in that, right? You're
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
talking dozens of triggers. You showed us a map with, the 100+ locations that you have, and yet you're automating virtually all of it. How are you using Eloqua to manage like that level of complexity at
Mhm.
scale?
I think we'd have to have Eloqua to handle that complexity because Eloqua itself is also a complex tool. But it's that complexity that also gave us the flexibility that we needed to really get the right solution in place. So even thinking about those delivery confirmations, we used Eloqua's complexity to try and remove as much of that friction from the customer experience as possible. So we didn't want them to have to re-enter their order number each time because these are a lot of these are repeat customers. So this is something that happens to them on like a weekly basis. And so trying to just make that as smooth and automated as possible is really important. So we did that by adding in stuff like the order number in the URL as a parameter, and then had that parameter feed into a hidden field onto the form. So to the customer, it just looks like the system knows that it's them and it's going to pre-populate those form fields and just make it like an easy submit. But there was actually a lot of complexity and a lot of forethought that went into automating that for them. But that's really how I think it's pivotal for us that we have Eloqua to be able to do that because wherever we can, we want to use Eloqua's complex capabilities to automate and scale for us. A great benefit to the delivery notification is that it's also like we can replicate it. It doesn't have to just be set for the for the certain brand that we've made, because we are a larger enterprise. Now that we have the solution in place, we can also, for brands that are similar, just repeat this whole project for them. So it's that kind of complexity that gives us that flexibility to create just pinpoint solutions. It's great.